All right, so chapter 3, simplifying, part 3, our third go around with simplifying and practicing with our expressions. Remember, we're basically focusing on two areas today: distributive property and factoring. All right, and factoring. So, focus on distributive property first. We pointed out in class today that we're going to start to see a little bit more advanced equations. All right, a little bit more advanced equations here. Didn't have to really deal with these much before chapter 3 because this is just one mega fraction we got going on here. And since chapter 3 is all about fractions and decimals, now we need to be ready to handle something like this. All right, so first thing we need to look at here, from our previous chapters in factoring, we've learned if we have a y divided by y, all right, they're going to factor each other out of the problem, so they basically cancel out, and we're left with 16 over 4. Well, that's 16 divided by 4, that's simply just 4. We have not touched what's inside our parentheses, so we can leave it alone. Okay, but all these other two terms, we can simplify those down to just 4. Now, once we get to this point, we need to remove our parentheses. 3m minus 7, not possible. So we can take our 4, we can distribute our 4 through. Remember, when we do distributive property, that means to multiply. So 4 times 3 leaves us with a 12m minus 4 times 7 is a 28. These are not like terms. These are not like terms, so we can ASAP, as simple as possible. That's all we can do with that problem. Okay, we didn't solve it, but that is all as far as we can go with the information we've been given. So we would stop at that point. Okay, so you have a few of those in your homework tonight. Some other ones I have just straightforward distributed property, but that's the new one, and it covers everything you need to know there for the simplifying. Second part of our homework was the factor side of it. Okay, and with factoring, all right, we need to be ready to see fractions. So 3/5 m to the third power plus 4/5 m. All right, so if we're given these two terms, they are not like terms, so we cannot add. All right, but remember, factoring, we're looking to divide. What would be a common factor here? So the first thing we notice, they both have an m in common, so we can factor an m. So that means we're going to move the m to the front. All right, that leaves us with 3/5. If we're going to factor an m out of here, we had 3, so if we're going to factor out 1, we still have 2. All right, m, factor out an m, very much the same situation that we had up here with our y. Okay, and that's kind of, this rule we've used in the past helped us here. So yeah, those are just going to cancel out, so we're left with a 4/5. All right, now we need to continue. There's no more variables they have in common, so we need to look at our numbers. All right, and we have the fraction. Both of these have the fraction 1/5 in common. We can factor that out of there. So that means now we have a 1/5 m, okay, 3/5 divided by 1/5. So again, if we pull this little piece out, 3/5 divided by 1/5. Okay, 3 divided by 1, 5 divided by 5, 3 over 1 is just 3. Okay? So we get 3, and we still have an m squared. All right. 4/5 divided by 1/5. From what we learned over here, 3/5 divided by 1/5 is just going to be 3. All right. Same setup, 4 over 1. So we get a 4. We can close off. Okay. So again, what you can basically take from this is this 5 and this 5 pretty much just cancel each other out, and you're left with 4 over 1. This 5 cancels out this 5, and you're left with 3 over 1. And if you would like, as simple as possible. Okay? So, concepts very familiar. The problems may look a little unique, may not be comfortable with how these things look tonight, but the techniques you're doing are the techniques we've been doing for 3 chapters. So you've seen them before. And as always, go with what your gut tells you to do, and if it's wrong, then we'll look at it tomorrow and we'll fix it. So do the best you can. Have a good night.